and we'll meet again in the next unforgettable revenge story. The end. Welcome back, and thank you for tuning into Midnight Affairs Tales. We appreciate every single one of you. We'd love to know what part of the world you are watching from right now. Let us know in the comments. Now let's dive into today's story. Chapter 1. The smell of salt water and jet fuel clung to Logan Riker's uniform as he stepped off the plane at Jacksonville Naval Air Station. The Florida heat wrapped around him like an old memory, a reminder that he was finally home. Home. The word should have felt comforting, but something in his gut twisted the moment his boots hit the pavement. Logan wasn't the kind of man to ignore his instincts. They had kept him alive in the deadliest war zones on Earth. His body had been trained to detect even the slightest threat, and right now, something was wrong. Marissa hadn't come to pick him up. She had always been there before, waiting with open arms, smiling through tears, but this time, nothing. He had given her the exact date and time. She knew he was coming. And yet, she wasn't here. Logan's hand tightened around his duffel bag. He climbed into a cab, barely listening to the driver's small talk. His mind was already running scenarios. Maybe she was stuck at work. Maybe she had car trouble. Maybe his instincts were just fried after too many years of war. But as the cab pulled into his neighborhood, the unease only grew. Their house sat at the end of the cul-de-sac, a two-story home with a porch swing she had begged him to buy. It should have been exactly as he left it. But there was something different. A black BMW sat in the driveway. Logan didn't recognize it. He stepped out of the cab, eyes locked on the unfamiliar car. The engine was still warm. Someone was here. Someone who shouldn't be. His heartbeat remained steady, but his grip on the duffel bag tightened. He walked to the front door and turned the handle. Unlocked. Marissa always locked the door. Inside, the house smelled different. It wasn't just Marissa's perfume anymore. There was something else, cologne. A man's scent. Then he heard it. A low chuckle. A man's voice. Upstairs. Logan didn't move. He didn't breathe. His military training told him to assess the situation before taking action. His instincts told him this was it. His wife was upstairs, with another man, in their bed. A slow rage began to simmer inside him, but his face remained unreadable. His pulse didn't even quicken. Logan had been trained to stay calm under pressure, and right now, he had never been under more pressure in his life. What the hell was waiting for him at the top of those stairs? Wait, I need to tell you something important. Have you ever realized that you keep watching my videos but haven't subscribed yet? This video has reached this point, which means you're enjoying it. So why not subscribe? I have a big goal, 3,000 subscribers, and you can help me reach it. Think about it. If you don't subscribe now, you might miss my next big video. This is the moment. Hit that subscribe button now. Do it now. And don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never miss out. I know you'll do it. And when we hit 3,000 subscribers, I have a special surprise for you. Now, let's continue story. Logan's boots made no sound as he stepped inside, closing the door behind him. Every movement was calculated, controlled. His fingers itched for the knife he had carried through countless missions, but he wasn't a soldier here. He was a husband walking into a war zone he never expected. He moved through the house like a shadow, stepping around the coffee table, past the framed wedding photos on the wall. The laughter upstairs stopped. A door creaked. Soft footsteps. Then Marissa's voice. "That was amazing," she murmured, voice thick with satisfaction. Logan closed his eyes for a fraction of a second, absorbing the blow. He had faced death too many times to count. But this was a different kind of pain. A deep, male voice responded. "We should be careful. He could come home any day now." A pause. Then Marissa laughed. A cruel, amused sound. "Logan? Please. He's too busy playing hero overseas. Besides, even if he did come back, what could he do? He's nothing without the Navy. Just another washed-up soldier." Logan's breath came slow and steady. The betrayal settled in his chest like a burning coal, but he didn't react. Not yet. He climbed the stairs, his steps silent. The bedroom door was halfway open. He could see her, lying in their bed, tangled in sheets that still smelled like him. And the man beside her, tall, smug, bare-chested, was none other than Grayson Cole. A high-profile defense attorney. The kind of man who made criminals disappear with the right loophole. Marissa's lover. Logan stepped forward, his shadow stretching into the room. Marissa gasped. Her eyes went wide, color draining from her face as she clutched the sheet to her chest. Logan. Grayson sat up, frowning. Who the hell? Logan didn't speak. He just stared. Cold. Unblinking. Marissa scrambled off the bed. You weren't supposed to be home yet. That one sentence told him everything. She wasn't sorry. She wasn't ashamed. She was angry that he came back too soon. Grayson stood up, reaching for his pants. Listen, man, this isn't what it looks like. Logan cut him off with a single look. The same look that had made terrorists piss themselves before an interrogation. Grayson shut up. Marissa tried again. Logan, I can explain. He turned, walked out of the room, and headed downstairs. Because if he stayed a second longer, he didn't know what he might do. Logan stood in the kitchen, gripping the edge of the counter. His breath was slow, measured. His mind wasn't clouded with rage, it was sharp. Focused. Marissa and Grayson were upstairs, whispering urgently. They thought he was broken, that he would leave quietly. They had no idea who they were dealing with. Minutes later, Marissa walked downstairs, her robe cinched tightly, face carefully composed. Grayson followed, keeping a safe distance. Marissa exhaled sharply. Logan, we need to talk. He turned, his face blank. Talk. She hesitated. Listen. I never wanted you to find out like this. But things haven't been right between us for a long time. Grayson crossed his arms. Look, man, this is unfortunate, but it's life. You were gone all the time. She moved on. You should too. Logan said nothing. He just watched them. Marissa bit her lip. I think we should file for divorce. There it was. The final nail. Logan tilted his head. You already have the papers, don't you? She froze. Grayson's face twitched. Logan let a slow smirk creep across his lips. You planned this. You knew I was coming home. Marissa swallowed. Logan, how long? His voice was soft. Dangerous. She flinched. It doesn't matter how long. She hesitated, then whispered, 2 years. Something inside Logan snapped. But he didn't show it. Instead, he stepped forward and whispered, Thank you. Marissa frowned. For what? He picked up his duffel bag and walked to the door. Before stepping out, he glanced back. For making this easy. Then he walked into the night. Because this wasn't over. It was just beginning. Logan stepped out into the humid Florida night, his breath slow and steady, his body moving on pure instinct. He wasn't just leaving. He was disappearing. Marissa and Grayson were inside, probably watching from the window, thinking they had won. Thinking he was walking away, broken. They were wrong. As soon as he was out of sight, Logan slipped between the shadows of the neighborhood, his SEAL training kicking in. He moved without a sound, cutting through the backyards of houses he had memorized long ago, avoiding streetlights, staying low. Within minutes, he was 2 blocks away, circling back to watch. He knew Marissa. She would talk. She would brag. And he needed to hear it. Logan crouched behind a row of thick hedges across from his house, positioning himself perfectly within earshot of the open living room window. Inside, Marissa was laughing. It was a sharp, bitter sound that sent a slow burn through Logan's chest. You should have seen his face, she said, her voice smug. Grayson poured himself a drink. He took that way too well. Marissa snorted. What was he going to do? Cry? Please. Logan thinks he's so tough, but he's nothing without the Navy. I knew he wouldn't fight back. Logan's jaw tightened. Grayson swirled his whiskey. Still, he's a SEAL. Should we be worried? Marissa waved a hand dismissively. He spent years following orders like a trained dog. He doesn't have the brains to play dirty. And even if he tries, he's got nothing on us. The house? Mine. The money? Mine. His military pension? Thanks to my lawyer, that'll be mine too. Logan's breathing stayed even, controlled. But inside, a storm was building. Grayson chuckled. Damn, babe. You really planned this out. Marissa leaned against him, whispering, of course. You don't trap a wolf. You tame it. Logan almost laughed. She thought he was tamed. She had no idea she had just set him free. As they clinked glasses and kissed, Logan slipped back into the darkness. The hunt had begun. By the time Marissa and Grayson went to bed, Logan was already moving. He wouldn't go home. He would never step into that house again. That house belonged to the man they thought he was. The man who was gone. Instead, Logan made his way to the only place that made sense. A storage unit on the outskirts of Jacksonville. It was an old military habit, always have a backup plan. Logan had rented the unit years ago, storing extra cash, weapons, untraceable phones, and gear he might need if the worst ever happened. This was the worst. Inside, he flicked on a dim light and took inventory. A bulletproof duffel bag filled with old IDs, burner phones, and stacks of cash from deployments. His SEAL tactical vest, combat knives, an encrypted laptop, and a sniper rifle he had never registered. He had everything he needed to disappear and rebuild. But first, he had to learn everything. Logan sat on the cold concrete floor, powered on the laptop, and started digging. Marissa and Grayson had been sloppy. His wife had been moving his money, into private accounts under her name alone. A few months ago, she had purchased a luxury condo in Miami. For herself, not for them. Grayson, on the other hand, was dirtier than expected. Logan knew he was a defense attorney, but he hadn't realized the man was neck-deep in crime. He had been laundering money for cartels and corrupt businessmen. Logan found old cases that had mysteriously disappeared after Grayson got involved. This was bigger than an affair. They weren't just betraying him. They were playing with fire. Logan shut the laptop. He could have called the police, exposed them, but that would be too easy. They thought they were smart. They thought they were untouchable. It was time to teach them what it really meant to be hunted. Marissa woke up late, stretching lazily in her king-sized bed. The same bed she had shared with Logan. Only now, it belonged to her and Grayson. She checked her phone. Bank app. Her account balance. $250,000. She smirked. Everything was moving as planned. Rolling over, she ran a hand down Grayson's bare chest. "Morning, baby." Grayson groaned, eyes barely opening. What time is it?" "Almost noon." She leaned down, kissing his collarbone. "We should celebrate." "Dinner in Miami?" His lips curled into a grin. "Now that's an idea." Marissa hummed. "I'll book us a suite at the Mandarin. We deserve it." She grabbed her phone and started making the reservation until the app glitched. The screen went black for a second. Then session expired. She frowned, logging back in. The balance refreshed. Her $250,000 was gone. Her blood turned to ice. She blinked, refreshing again. Nothing. Grayson sat up. "What's wrong?" Marissa's fingers trembled as she tried logging in again. The money. "It's gone." Grayson frowned. "Gone? What do you mean gone?" Marissa dialed her bank's customer service. The automated system picked up. "Your current balance is $0. The blood drained from her face. Grayson grabbed the phone. "This has to be a mistake. BZT." A notification popped up on Marissa's phone. An email. "Sender. Unknown subject. Lesson 1 message. This isn't a glitch. It's your first lesson in regret." Marissa's heart pounded. Grayson stared at the screen. His face, usually smug and unreadable, was suddenly tight with unease. A second notification popped up. A video attachment. She hesitated, then clicked it. The video was grainy security footage of their house. Last night, a dark figure stood outside the window, watching. Marissa gasped. Grayson cursed. Marissa's fingers tightened around the phone as her breathing grew shallow. Logan was here. He had been watching them, and he had already started. This wasn't over. It was just beginning. Marissa's hands trembled as she clutched her phone, staring at the message on her screen. Lesson 1. She could barely breathe. The weight of the words pressed against her chest like a loaded gun. Grayson snatched the phone from her grip. His face, which was always so confident, so cocky, was pale now. He replayed the security footage, watching that shadowy figure outside their window. "Jesus Christ," he muttered. Marissa tried to calm the panic rising in her throat. It can't be him. Grayson turned to her, eyes flashing. Who the hell else would it be? Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. It didn't make sense. Logan had walked away. He hadn't fought, hadn't screamed, hadn't threatened. That wasn't the man she married. He wasn't ruthless. But now? Now she wasn't so sure. Grayson ran a hand through his hair, his breathing uneven. All right, listen. We keep calm. This is just a scare tactic. He's messing with us, trying to get inside our heads. Marissa swallowed. And it's working. Grayson scowled. Stop it. We're in control here. Marissa nodded, but her body told a different story. Her fingers dug into the sheets, her stomach twisted in knots. Grayson reached for his phone. I'll call my guys. We'll set up security, cameras, the works. Marissa shook her head. No. No police. Grayson frowned. What? She swallowed hard. He's Navy SEAL trained. If we bring cops into this, they'll laugh at us. He won't leave a trace. Grayson gritted his teeth. Then what the hell do you suggest? Marissa's eyes darted around the room, mind racing. She forced herself to take a deep breath. We wait. We stay smart. He wants to scare us? Fine. But we don't break. Grayson exhaled slowly, nodding. All right. We play it cool. But as he stood up and walked toward the bathroom, he missed the second notification that popped up on his phone. Another email. Cinder. Unknown subject. Lesson 2 message. You really think you're in control? Attached was a photo of Grayson sleeping in their bed, taken from inside the room. The moment Marissa saw the photo, she felt like her lungs had collapsed. Her body went rigid, her hands clenched so tightly around the phone that her knuckles turned white. He was here, not outside. Inside. She nearly dropped the phone, scrambling off the bed. Grayson, what now? He sighed, rubbing his temple as he stepped out of the bathroom. She turned the screen toward him, her hands shaking. His eyes narrowed as he took the phone. He stared at the image, his face unreadable for a moment. Then, he cracked. Grayson launched the phone across the room, sending it smashing into the wall. His breathing was rough, his body tense. How the fuck did he get in here? Marissa couldn't speak. She tried to retrace every moment of the past 24 hours. They had locked the doors, hadn't they? They had set the alarm, hadn't they? Grayson grabbed his own phone and started pacing. I'm calling security now. I don't care if he's a SEAL. I'll have men watching this house day and night. Marissa sat on the edge of the bed, gripping her temples. This wasn't just a mind game. This was a message. He had been inside their home, close enough to stand over them as they slept. He could have killed them. He didn't, because this wasn't about murder. This was about suffering. And Logan had only just begun. Logan sat in his rental car across the street, watching as Grayson barked into his phone. The man was unraveling, pacing back and forth inside the house. Good. He adjusted the earpiece in his ear, listening to the conversation he had tapped from Grayson's phone. I don't give a shit how much it costs, Grayson snapped. I want security here tonight. Get a team on it. No, make it double. 24-hour surveillance. No one gets in or out without my say-so. Logan's lips curved into a slight smirk. Let them waste their money. Let them feel safe. It wouldn't matter, because Logan wasn't coming for them in the way they expected. He wasn't a burglar trying to break in. He wasn't a hitman looking for a quick job. He was a ghost, and ghosts didn't need to go through doors. They went through weaknesses. Logan picked up his second burner phone and sent another email. Cinder. Unknown subject. You can't stop this message. Cameras? Guards? Money? None of it will save you. You should have killed me when you had the chance. He had sinned. Across the street, he watched Grayson freeze. Then, the man punched a hole in the wall. Logan leaned back in his seat, exhaling slowly. Lesson 2. Fear. They were starting to break. The cracks were forming. Now it was time for Lesson 3. Destruction. Logan knew fear. He had seen it in the eyes of men who had seconds left to live. He had heard it in the panicked breaths of hostages waiting for rescue. But nothing compared to the kind of fear he was seeing now. The kind of fear that crept into your bones when you realized you were being hunted. From his vantage point across the street, Logan watched as the security team arrived, 5 men, armed, serious. A private firm, the kind hired by men like Grace and Cole when they had too much to lose. They installed cameras, motion sensors, trip alarms. By the time they were done, the house looked like a fortress. Logan almost laughed. A fortress could protect you from outside threats. But what if the enemy was already inside? His earpiece crackled. "This is bullshit," one of the guards muttered. "We're locking down a place because of one guy?" "He's not just a guy," another voice responded. "He's a Navy SEAL. That's why they're paying us double." Logan grinned. They were expecting a soldier. A man who would break in through a window, try to overpower them, maybe take them down one by one. That's not what Logan had planned. He had something far worse in store. And it started with Marissa. Marissa was barely holding it together. She sat at the kitchen counter, gripping a glass of wine like it was her last lifeline. The house was quiet, except for the occasional beep from the security system. She should have felt safe. She didn't. "Come on, babe," Grayson said, rubbing his temples. "We've got a full team watching the house." "He's not getting in." She scoffed. "You think cameras and guards are going to stop him?" He got inside. Grayson exhaled sharply. "It was a scare tactic. He wants us rattled. We don't give him that." Too late, Marissa thought. She was already rattled as hell. She reached for her phone to check the bank app again. She knew the money was gone. She had checked 100 times. But some desperate part of her needed to see it, needed proof that her life wasn't collapsing. Her finger hovered over the app. Then the screen glitched. Her reflection in the black screen distorted, twisted. Then it blinked to life. An email. Sender. Unknown subject. Look outside. Her breath caught. Slowly, she turned her head toward the large living room window. There, across the street, under the street lamp, a figure stood. Not moving. Not hiding. Just watching. The glass of wine slipped from her fingers and shattered on the floor. Marissa's heart slammed against her ribs as she gasped. "Grayson!" she screamed, scrambling backward, pointing toward the window. Grayson rushed into the room, eyes wild. "What? What the hell?" Marissa pointed. But the figure was gone. She shook her head violently. No, he was there. He was standing right there. Grayson rubbed his face. "Marissa, stop calling me crazy," she snapped. A loud ding interrupted them. Another email. Sender. Unknown subject. "You're not crazy" message. "You saw me." But what about them? Attached was a video file. Marissa hesitated. Every part of her screamed not to press play. But her shaking hands moved on their own, clicking the file. The screen flickered. Then static. Then a video feed. Not of them. Not of their house. Of you. Yes, you. The one reading this right now. Logan's voice came through the speakers, calm. Cold. "What about you? Where are you watching from? Is it a big city? A small town? A quiet apartment where you think you're alone? Look around. Right now? Go on. Look. Because what if I was standing outside your window?" Marissa dropped the phone like it burned her. "Turn it off," she screamed. Grayson grabbed the phone and ended the video. His face was pale, his lips tight. "What the fuck is this?" he muttered. Marissa couldn't speak, because she had felt it. That moment of fear. That deep, unsettling knowledge that someone could be watching you and you wouldn't even know. Her hands were trembling so hard she couldn't stop them. Logan was everywhere. And nowhere. And he was just getting started. Marissa couldn't stop shaking. The video was over, the screen black, but her mind kept replaying Logan's words. "Where are you watching from? Look around. Right now." She had looked. She had whipped her head around so fast it hurt, scanning every corner of the house, every shadow, every movement. And now? Now she couldn't stop. Her heart slammed against her ribcage. The security team was outside. Grayson was inside. But it wasn't enough. Because Logan wasn't playing by their rules. Grayson paced across the room, his jaw clenched. His anger was barely contained, like a pot about to boil over. "This is bullshit," he muttered. Marissa swallowed hard. What if he's already inside again? Grayson snapped his head toward her. "He's not inside, Marissa. We have armed guards surrounding the house. Cameras. Motion detectors. He's playing a game. Marissa wasn't so sure. Her phone buzzed. Another email. Cinder. Unknown subject. Still watching message. Check the front door. Her breath caught. Grayson's face twisted. Don't open it. Marissa's fingers twitched. She knew she shouldn't. She knew Logan was toying with them. But she had to know. Slowly, she walked to the front door, her hands shaking. She unlocked the deadbolt with a soft click and pulled the door open just a few inches, and screamed. Because sitting there, neatly placed on the welcome mat, was her wedding ring. The same one she had thrown in a drawer months ago. Her head snapped up. She scanned the street, the bushes, the driveways. Nothing. But Logan had been here, and he had been close enough to touch her. Marissa slammed the door shut, her breath ragged. Grayson rushed toward her. What? What the hell is it? She shoved the door closed, bolting the lock, then held up the ring. He was here. Grayson's face darkened. Motherfucker. He yanked his phone out of his pocket, dialing security. I don't care if your men didn't see anything. He left something at our front door. That means you missed him. Grayson growled into the phone. Marissa tuned him out. Her mind was whirling. Logan wasn't just scaring them. He was making them doubt everything. Their security. Their control. He was everywhere and nowhere at once. Another thought slithered into her brain. What if Logan wasn't working alone? What if he had someone on the inside? Her stomach twisted. She turned toward the nearest window, pulling back the curtain just enough to see outside. The security guards stood at their posts. A few were patrolling. But could she really trust them? Was one of them feeding Logan information? Her phone buzzed. Cinder. Unknown subject. You're smarter than I thought message. Look closer. Marissa's breath hitched. She turned back toward the window. The guards stood there, normal as ever, but one of them was looking directly at her. Not patrolling. Not scanning the perimeter. Just watching. Marissa let the curtain fall shut. Her stomach lurched. She backed away, pressing herself against the wall, her pulse throbbing in her ears. Grayson was still on the phone, barking orders. He didn't notice her panic. Marissa's mind raced. She had two choices. Stay in this house and wait for Logan to make his next move. Or run. Marissa grabbed Grayson's arm, nails digging into his skin. We need to leave. Now. Grayson shook her off, scowling. We're not running from him, Marissa. That's exactly what he wants. Marissa's breath came faster. I don't care. He's inside our heads. He's everywhere. What if he's inside the security team? What if we're just sitting ducks? Grayson's jaw clenched. You think he won't find us wherever we go? He asked. He's a SEAL. He'll track us. Marissa's fingers trembled. But she knew something Grayson didn't. Logan had always been fiercely loyal. He had been the kind of man who would fight to the death for someone he loved. If they left? If they went somewhere he couldn't predict? Maybe she could talk to him. Make him stop. She forced herself to breathe. We go somewhere far, unexpected. A place he wouldn't think of. Then I talk to him. One-on-one. Grayson scoffed. Talk to him? Are you insane? Marissa stared at him. You don't know him like I do. Grayson's nostrils flared. Fine. We run. But on my terms. Marissa didn't care. She just needed to get out. She grabbed her purse, slipping on sneakers, her mind racing. Logan could have planted trackers in their phones. Hell, maybe even their cars. So they'd go off-grid. Right now. Grayson turned toward the security team. Get the car ready. Marissa took one last look at the house. The lights flickered. She froze. Then a notification buzzed. Cinder. Unknown subject. Running won't save you message. I already know where you're going. Her stomach dropped. Because Logan was already ahead of them. And he was waiting. Marissa's pulse pounded in her ears. She was trapped inside her own mind, the walls of her reality closing in. Every breath felt too shallow, every sound too sharp. Logan was inside their world now. He wasn't just attacking them, he was controlling them. She stared at the email. I already know where you're going. Her hands clawed at her chest like she could dig the anxiety out of herself. She had spent years thinking she was the smartest one in the room, the one who controlled the pieces on the board. But this was a different game. And Logan was winning. Grayson snatched the phone from her hands. He read the message, his eyes darkening. Enough of this shit. He turned toward the security team. Change of plans. We're not going to Miami. We head north. Somewhere remote. Marissa swallowed, her throat dry. Where? Grayson smirked. Somewhere he won't expect. She almost laughed. Logan expected everything. A deep rumbling noise cut through the night as the security team pulled a sleek black SUV to the front of the house. The tinted windows were armor-proof. The doors reinforced. It wouldn't matter. Marissa felt it in her bones. Logan was already one step ahead. As they climbed inside, the air felt heavy. Her body was stiff, her nerves frayed to the breaking point. Grayson sat beside her, jaw clenched. The SUV pulled out of the driveway. They didn't notice the motorcycle parked 2 blocks away. The helmeted rider didn't move, didn't react, just watched. And then, he followed. The road stretched out in front of them like an endless black ribbon. The SUV moved fast, slicing through the dark Florida backroads, its headlights barely cutting into the thick night. Marissa sat stiffly, her fingers digging into her thighs. She couldn't shake the feeling that this was an escape. It was walking into the trap. Grayson checked his phone, frustration written all over his face. I don't get it. No more emails, no calls. Maybe he finally realized he can't win this one. Marissa didn't respond. She knew better. The security team's radio crackled. Clear roads. No signs of pursuit. Grayson smirked. See? He's not as untouchable as he thinks. Marissa turned to look out the back window. And that's when she saw it. A single motorcycle, its headlight off, following in the darkness. Her breath hitched. She couldn't see the rider, just the shape of him, barely illuminated by passing streetlights. He wasn't falling behind. He was pacing them. Grayson, she whispered. What? She swallowed, unable to look away. He's here. Grayson's eyes snapped to the rearview mirror. Nothing. He frowned. There's no one back there, Marissa. She looked again. The motorcycle was gone. Her skin crawled. Had she imagined it? Or was Logan already inside her mind, making her doubt reality? The car sped up. The road ahead was empty, stretching out into miles of wilderness. Nowhere to run. Nowhere to hide. Marissa tried to steady her breathing. If Logan was following them, how far would he go? A text buzzed on her phone. No name. Just 2 words. Look up. Her heart stopped. She did. And that's when she saw the road sign. Next gas station, 1 Mile. Logan already knew exactly where they were going. And he was waiting for them. The SUV pulled into the empty gas station, the lone structure sitting under the eerie glow of flickering fluorescent lights. Grayson exhaled sharply. We'll refuel, grab some coffee, and keep moving. We're fine. Marissa wasn't fine. She scanned the dark road behind them. No headlights. No movement. But she knew he was here. She felt it. Grayson stepped out, waving 2 of the security guards toward the pumps. Stay alert. No mistakes. Marissa didn't move. Her phone buzzed again. Cinder. Unknown subject. You shouldn't have stopped. Her stomach twisted. Grayson, she hissed, gripping his arm. Let's go. Now. Grayson rolled his eyes. You're paranoid. Marissa wanted to scream. Then, the station lights cut out. For 3 full seconds, the world was pitch black. Then, click. The lights flickered back on. And standing there, just beyond the pumps, near the shadows, was Logan. Marissa choked on her own breath. He wasn't hiding. He was just standing there. Calm. Steady. Watching. Grayson froze, his breath coming sharp and shallow. You son of a bitch. Logan tilted his head, eyes locked on him. Running didn't work. Did it? Grayson clenched his fists. Get the hell out of here. Logan took a slow step forward. The security guards pulled their guns. Logan didn't flinch. Instead, he smirked. You really think that's going to stop me? Grayson hesitated. And in that moment, Logan moved. Fast. His hand snapped forward, a small metal device sailing through the air. It hit the ground near the gas pumps and hissed. Smoke. Thick, white smoke. Then chaos. Marissa coughed, her vision blurring. She heard shouting, boots scuffling, bodies moving. Then, silence. The smoke cleared. Logan was gone. But Grayson? Grayson was on his knees, a knife pressed against his throat. And Logan? Logan was whispering something in his ear, something Marissa couldn't hear. Then, just as quickly as he had come, Logan vanished into the night. Grayson gasped for air, his hands shaking. He turned toward Marissa, his face pale. He swallowed. He said this was just a taste. Marissa's vision blurred. They hadn't escaped. They had walked straight into the fire. And Logan? Logan was only getting started. Grayson sat in the SUV, his hands trembling against the leather seats. His throat still burned where Logan's knife had pressed against his skin. He could still hear Logan's whisper, low and sharp. You took everything from me. Now, I take everything from you. He gritted his teeth, rage simmering under his skin. He had never been the kind of man to feel powerless. But tonight, he had been on his knees, choking on fear while Logan Riker walked away like a ghost. Marissa sat beside him, arms crossed, silent. She was shaken too, though she wouldn't admit it. The security team had recovered, scanning the area, finding nothing. Logan had disappeared into thin air. But Grayson was done. His fingers flew across his phone screen, dialing a number he never thought he'd need. The line picked up after one ring. FBI. Special Agent Carter speaking. Grayson exhaled sharply. We have a problem. Silence. Then a sigh. Grayson Cole. It's been a while. What kind of problem are we talking about? Grayson rubbed his temple. His name is Logan Riker. Former SEAL. And he's hunting us. A pause. Riker. Agent Carter repeated. His tone changed. Wait. Logan Riker. Grayson frowned. Yeah, you know him? A dry chuckle. Oh, I know him. Everyone in Federal Intelligence knows him. He's a ghost. The kind that doesn't leave loose ends. Grayson's stomach twisted. Marissa finally spoke. We need protection. Now. Carter let out another low sigh. I hate to break it to you, but if Logan Riker wants you gone, no one can stop him. Grayson's face drained of color. Because for the first time, the law wasn't the answer. The SUV pulled into an upscale hotel parking lot. It wasn't the Miami condo Marissa had planned to celebrate in, but at least it was safe. Or so she hoped. The security team was on edge. They had failed twice now, and they knew it. They fanned out across the lot, checking exits, scanning for any sign of Logan. Marissa stepped out of the car, arms folded tightly over her chest. FBI will be here in 20 minutes, Grayson muttered, barely looking at her. She ignored him. Instead, she scanned the rooftops, the streetlights, the dark corners. Was Logan watching? Was he already inside the hotel? The thought made her shiver. Grayson paced back and forth, muttering to himself, rubbing his face like a man unraveling. I don't get it, he hissed under his breath. We have security. We have cameras. And yet, he's always a step ahead. Marissa glanced toward the hotel entrance. Dark glass doors. A marble lobby. Empty. Or at least, it looked empty. Then, a figure walked in. A man in a black suit, FBI badge clipped to his belt. Agent Carter. He moved with authority, his sharp eyes scanning them both as he approached. I can't believe I'm saying this, he muttered. But you two are in serious danger. Grayson scowled. No shit. Carter ignored him. His gaze locked onto Marissa. You're his wife, right? Marissa stiffened. Ex-wife. Carter nodded. Then tell me, how much do you actually know about Logan Riker? Marissa opened her mouth, then closed it. Because the truth? She had no idea who Logan was anymore. Agent Carter sat across from them in the dimly lit hotel room, arms crossed, his face unreadable. Let me make one thing clear, he said. Logan Riker isn't just some bitter ex-husband. He's one of the most dangerous men alive. And if he's coming for you, he's not stopping until one of you is in the ground. Marissa flinched. Grayson scoffed, leaning forward. You're acting like he's some kind of assassin. Carter smirked. He's worse. He reached into his pocket, pulled out a small flash drive, and slid it across the table. Marissa stared at it. What is that? Carter leaned back. Classified military reports. SEAL operations. Missions that never made the news. Every single one of them? Logan Riker was at the center. Grayson's fingers twitched as he grabbed the flash drive. Carter continued, his voice dark. I don't know what you did to him, but I do know this. If Riker wants revenge, it's already over. Marissa clenched her jaw. She refused to believe that. He's not invincible, she snapped. Everyone has weaknesses. Carter studied her for a long moment. Then, with the smallest smirk, he said, Yeah? Then tell me something, Marissa. What's Logan's? She hesitated. Because deep down, she wasn't sure if he had one. Marissa's fingers hovered over the flash drive, her pulse thudding in her ears. She could feel Carter watching her, waiting for an answer. What was Logan's weakness? But she didn't have one. Not anymore. The Logan she had known, the loyal, devoted husband who sent her handwritten letters from war zones, who never missed an anniversary no matter where he was stationed, that man was dead. The man hunting them now? That was someone reborn in betrayal. Grayson plugged the flash drive into his laptop, his face tight with frustration. He clicked through file after file, scrolling past pages of classified mission reports, surveillance images, debrief notes. Then, a video file. Marissa's throat tightened as Grayson clicked play. The screen flickered to life. A grainy security cam recording. A darkened room. And there, in the center of it all, was Logan. Not the Logan she had married. Not the man who used to hold her at night. This was someone else. His wrists were zip-tied behind his back, his face bloodied. There were 3 men standing around him, armed. They spoke in a foreign language, voices low, mocking. And then, Logan lifted his head, and he smiled. A slow, terrifying smile. Marissa's skin went cold, because she knew what happened next. The men in the video? They had no idea what they were dealing with. And 5 minutes later, they were all dead. Grayson slammed the laptop shut. Jesus Christ. Agent Carter leaned forward, voice quiet. Do you get it now? Marissa swallowed hard. She got it. Logan wasn't a man. He was a weapon. Grayson stood abruptly, pacing the room, shaking with anger. Enough of this, he snapped. We're treating him like he's some kind of superhuman. He's just a man. Carter chuckled, slow and low. You still don't get it, do you? Grayson whirled around. What? Carter leaned forward. Do you know what happens when you take a man like Logan Riker, someone who has survived the worst places on Earth, and you give him nothing left to lose? Grayson's jaw clenched. Carter smirked. You created something worse than a killer. You created a ghost. Marissa felt the weight of those words. Because deep down, she knew Carter was right. Grayson grabbed his phone and stormed toward the door. Screw this. I'm not sitting around waiting to be hunted like some animal. We bring him down first. Carter raised an eyebrow. And how do you plan to do that? Grayson didn't answer. Because he didn't have a plan. Because you don't plan against someone like Logan. You just run. Marissa closed her eyes, a deep, knowing feeling settling in her gut. Logan was coming. And he wasn't just going to destroy Grayson. He was going to make him beg for it. The first scream came at 2:37 a.m. Marissa woke up gasping, her body jerking upright as the sound of chaos tore through the hotel. Gunshots. Shouting. And then, silence. A long, suffocating silence. Grayson was already on his feet, reaching for the gun he kept by the nightstand. His breath came in short, uneven bursts. Marissa grabbed his arm. Grayson, what? He shook her off. Stay here. Stay here? Was he insane? The moment he stepped toward the door, a low knock echoed through the room. Knock. Knock. Slow. Measured. Marissa's heart stopped. Grayson's grip tightened on his gun. He moved toward the door, his hand reaching for the handle. Don't, Marissa whispered. Grayson ignored her. He yanked the door open. Nothing. The hallway was empty. No security. No guards. Just a small black box sitting outside their door. A note attached. Grayson, since you stole from me, I thought I'd give you something in return. Enjoy. Grayson's fingers trembled as he picked up the box. The weight was wrong. Too light. Too familiar. Marissa swallowed, her entire body tense. Grayson opened it. His own Rolex sat inside. The same Rolex that had been on his wrist when he went to bed. His hand shook as he grabbed his wrist. The watch was gone. Marissa felt the blood drain from her face. Logan had been inside the room while they slept, and they hadn't even known. Grayson stumbled backward, the small black box tumbling from his hands, the Rolex rolling across the floor like a ticking time bomb. His own watch, taken straight from his wrist. Marissa felt like her lungs had collapsed. He had been inside this room while they slept. Her fingers dug into the sheets as she fought the urge to scream. She forced herself to look at Grayson, to see the fear he was trying to hide. His breathing was erratic, his hands twitching as he ran them through his hair. This isn't possible. Marissa's voice came out in a whisper. He was here. Grayson shook his head violently. No way. I had my gun. I would've. Marissa's stomach turned. Would he have? Would either of them have woken up in time? She thought back to the video footage of Logan in captivity. The way he had smiled at his captors before tearing them apart. This was the same man. And now, they were his captives. Grayson grabbed his phone, dialing security. His voice was sharp, desperate. How the hell did someone get in here? The voice on the other end stuttered, then cut out completely. Marissa froze. The hotel phone was dead. The Wi-Fi? Gone. She grabbed her own phone. No signal. The hotel had been blacked out. And then, the lights flickered and shut off. The room plunged into darkness. And for the first time, Marissa felt like she was already buried alive. The emergency lights flickered to life, casting eerie, dim glows along the hallway. Marissa's breath came fast, too fast. She reached for the nearest lamp, but Grayson caught her wrist. "Stay away from the windows," he hissed. His voice was low, shaken. He was scared, and that scared her even more. Grayson turned toward the door, gripping the gun at his side. His voice was a whisper. "If he's in the building, we don't make it easy for him." Marissa's pulse hammered as she stared at the door. She thought about the knock from earlier. The small box. The way Logan had stolen from them while they slept. He didn't need a gun. He didn't need brute force. He was hunting them with fear, and they were falling for it. Marissa backed up toward the closet, grabbing her coat. "We need to get out of here." Grayson looked at her like she was insane. "And go where?" "He already knows where we're going before we do." She swallowed. "Then we do the unexpected." Grayson stared at her for a long moment. Then, without a word, he grabbed his jacket and nodded. They weren't waiting anymore. They were running. Again. The stairwell was cold, quiet. The kind of quiet that made Marissa's skin crawl. She clutched the hotel keycard in her fingers, feeling the thin plastic dig into her palm. Her heart hammered. Grayson led the way, gun tight in his grip. His movements were rigid, too careful, like he was expecting something to jump out at them. The exit was just ahead. Marissa could see the red glow of the emergency exit sign. Almost there. Almost. BZZT. Her phone vibrated. She nearly dropped it. With shaking hands, she flipped the screen. Unknown number. She hesitated, then answered. A pause. Then Logan's voice. "Leaving so soon?" Marissa's stomach plummeted. She spun around, scanning the stairwell. The air was thick, suffocating. He was here, or he was watching. Grayson yanked the phone from her hand. "Where the hell are you, you psycho?" Logan's voice was calm, controlled. "I could be anywhere. I could be right behind you." Marissa whirled around. Nothing. Grayson's jaw clenched. "You don't scare me." Logan chuckled. "Slow. Dark. Then why are you running?" Marissa's vision blurred. She gripped the stair railing for support. Grayson's fingers tightened around the phone. "You don't win this, Logan." A pause. Then Logan's voice lowered. "You already lost." And then the line went dead. A chill ran down Marissa's spine. Because Logan was right. They had already lost. And they had nowhere left to run. Marissa's breath came in sharp, uneven bursts. Her fingers gripped the stairwell railing like it was the only thing keeping her from falling into the abyss. The phone call was over. But Logan wasn't. Grayson's face was pale, his knuckles tight around the gun. He looked up the stairs, then down. He was thinking, calculating. Then he moved. "Come on," he muttered, grabbing her arm. "We take the back exit. Underground parking lot." Marissa followed, her mind spinning. Logan wanted them to run. He wanted them desperate. And they were playing right into his hands. As they reached the door to the parking garage, Grayson hesitated, glancing through the small glass window. The lot was dimly lit. Empty. Marissa's pulse pounded. "Go," Grayson whispered. He pushed open the door, and the alarms exploded. A piercing, shrieking siren shattered the silence, blaring through the parking lot, the stairwell, the entire hotel. Marissa flinched. What the hell? Then she saw it. A black motorcycle, parked in the shadows, waiting. Grayson's body went rigid. Marissa swallowed hard, eyes darting around the parking lot. It looked empty, but that meant nothing. Then, the emergency lights cut out. For the second time that night, Marissa barely had time to scream before the world went black. Darkness swallowed the garage, thick and suffocating. Marissa froze. She reached for Grayson, her fingers finding nothing but air. "Grayson?" A shuffling sound. Something moved. Then a footstep. Slow. Deliberate. Grayson's voice was low, sharp. "Stay close." Marissa's breath hitched. "Where is he?" No answer. Another footstep. Then, a voice. Logan's voice. "You never understood, Marissa." She whipped around. The voice was everywhere. "You thought this was about anger, about revenge." Marissa's heartbeat slammed against her ribs. "But this is about justice." A click. The lights flickered back on, and Logan was standing 10 feet away, dressed in black, face calm, eyes cold, a gun in one hand, a camera in the other. Marissa's breath caught. Logan lifted the camera, pointing it directly at them. "Smile." The shutter clicked. Marissa lost it. She lunged forward, fist clenched, voice raw. "Stop this." Logan didn't flinch. Grayson raised his gun. "Get the hell away from us." Logan tilted his head, amused. "You really think that'll stop me?" Grayson's fingers trembled. Because they all knew the truth. It wouldn't. Then, Logan tossed something onto the ground. A small USB drive. It skidded across the pavement, stopping at Grayson's feet. "Play that," Logan said, voice low. "See how deep this really goes." Marissa's stomach twisted. What was on that drive? And why did Logan look so damn calm? Grayson hesitated, his gun wavering. Logan smiled. Then he was gone, moving like a shadow, disappearing into the darkness, leaving nothing behind but that damn USB drive. Grayson's fingers curled around the USB. His breath was ragged, uneven. Marissa stood frozen. Everything inside her screamed not to do it. But she knew Logan. He never did anything without a reason. She watched as Grayson pulled out his laptop, his face unreadable. The file loaded. A video. Then, a familiar voice. Marissa's stomach plummeted. Because it was her. Her own voice, playing through the speakers. "He's just a trained dog. He does what he's told. He's nothing without the Navy." The words punched her in the gut. It was a recording of her and Grayson, sitting in a restaurant, laughing, drinking. Grayson's voice cut in. "Yeah, and when we're done draining him dry, he'll have nothing left. Just another dumb soldier with nowhere to go." Marissa shook her head violently. That was over a year ago. Grayson's face was stone. But the video wasn't over. Another voice joined the conversation. A third person. "Are you sure he won't fight back?" Marissa's throat closed. Because she knew that voice. It was her lawyer, the woman who had handled the divorce. "Trust me," Marissa had said in the recording. "Logan will never see it coming." The video ended. Silence filled the room. Marissa's knees felt weak. Grayson's face was unreadable. He knew. He knew she had been the one who orchestrated it. Not just the cheating. Not just the money. All of it. Marissa turned to Grayson, panic rising in her throat. You know I was just saying that for the divorce, right?" "I didn't mean it like." Grayson's expression was dark. Cold. For the first time, he didn't look at her like a partner. He looked at her like she was the enemy. Because Logan had just turned them against each other. And now? Now she wasn't sure who to be more afraid of. Marissa's pulse hammered in her ears. The air in the hotel room had turned thick, suffocating. The walls felt like they were closing in, trapping her between two men who now hated her. Grayson hadn't moved. He sat frozen, fingers clenched around the laptop, replaying the video in his mind. Not just the cheating, not just the money, the entire setup. The moment she spoke those words in the recording, Logan will never see it coming, Marissa knew. She had lost everything. Her grip tightened on the edge of the desk. Grayson, his eyes snapped to hers. Cold, calculating, dangerous. You set this whole thing up, he muttered. His voice was quiet. Too quiet. Marissa swallowed. I know, Grayson exhaled sharply, his face twisting into something ugly. Jesus Christ, he whispered, rubbing his face. I thought he was the biggest threat. But it's you, isn't it? Marissa's stomach twisted. Grayson, listen to me. He pushed up from the chair so fast it scraped against the floor. No. His voice was sharp, final. I listened to you once, and now we're both being hunted like animals. He turned toward the door. Where are you going? She demanded. Grayson's jaw tightened. To fix this before it's too late. And then he was gone. The door slammed shut behind him, and Marissa was alone. Alone. With a man hunting her. A man who knew everything. A man who wasn't going to stop until she had nothing left. And now? Now, Grayson wasn't on her side anymore. Marissa's body shook. Grayson was out there. Alone. Probably trying to run. Maybe even trying to cut a deal with Logan. She couldn't let that happen. Because if Grayson thought he could walk away from this, if he thought Logan would let him just bargain his way out, he was dead already. Marissa snatched her phone off the desk. No signal. Her breath came sharp, uneven. Logan had jammed the networks again. He was cutting them off from the world. Her mind raced. What do I do? She had one chance. She had to get to Grayson before Logan did. Marissa grabbed a coat, stuffing her gun into the pocket. She wasn't trained for this. She wasn't a fighter. But she was a survivor. And right now, she had to survive Logan Riker. She pushed out of the hotel room and into the hallway, her heart pounding. The corridor was empty. Too quiet. She hurried toward the elevator. Ding. Her breath caught. The door slid open, and standing inside, a single man, dressed in black. Calm. Cold blue eyes locked on her. Marissa's blood turned to ice. Going somewhere. Logan. Marissa's entire body froze. She wanted to move, wanted to run, but her legs refused to listen. Logan Riker stepped out of the elevator. No gun in his hands. No threats. Just watching her. Like she was already his. Marissa's throat went dry. Logan, he tilted his head. You seem nervous. Her fingers twitched. The gun in her coat. Could she grab it fast enough? Logan's eyes flicked down to her pocket. He knew. He always knew. She exhaled shakily. Listen, he cut her off. Don't insult me with an apology. Marissa's mouth snapped shut. The tension wrapped around them, thick as a vice. Logan took a slow step forward, closing the space. You spent 2 years lying to my face, he murmured. Plotting. Stealing. Marissa swallowed hard. It wasn't like that. Logan's smile was ice. It was exactly like that. She took a small step backward. Logan followed. Every instinct screamed at her to run. But she knew what happened when prey ran from a predator. Logan reached into his jacket. Marissa flinched. But instead of a gun, he pulled out his wedding ring. Her stomach twisted painfully. He held it up between them. The silver band catching the dim hotel lights. The same ring she had once slid onto his finger, promising forever. Now it was just a weapon in his hands. You know the difference between us, Marissa? His voice was low, controlled. Marissa's fingers trembled. W.H. What? Logan's smile didn't reach his eyes. You betrayed me for money. He stepped closer, his breath brushing against her ear. I'm betraying you for justice. Marissa shook. Logan, please. He stepped back, pocketing the ring. Then, he turned and walked away. Marissa stood there, frozen, confused, terrified. Why? Why didn't he hurt her? Then she saw it. The small phone sitting on the hallway table. A live video feed playing. She stepped forward, her heart dropping. The screen flickered. And there on the feed was Grayson, tied to a chair, blood dripping down his face. Marissa's hands flew to her mouth. The video zoomed in. Grayson's eyes were wild with fear. Then Logan's voice cut through the speakers. "Your turn, Marissa." The screen went black. Marissa let out a shaky breath. She had wanted to get to Grayson before Logan did. She was too late. And now? Now she had one choice. She had to face the man she had destroyed, or watch Grayson die. Marissa's legs felt like concrete. Her breath came sharp, ragged. The hotel hallway around her seemed smaller now, suffocating, the air thick with something she couldn't name. She stared at the black screen of the phone Logan had left behind. The last thing she saw, Grayson, tied to a chair. Beaten, bleeding, helpless. Her chest tightened. For the first time since this nightmare began, she realized something terrifying. Logan wasn't just playing with them anymore. He was finishing this. Her fingers curled into fists. She had spent the past 2 years believing she was smarter than Logan Riker, that she could take everything from him and walk away untouched. But Logan had been watching, waiting. And now? Now he had Grayson. Marissa forced herself to breathe, to think. She grabbed the phone, scanning the device. No messages, no calls, no way to respond. But then, a single notification popped up. Address sent. Marissa's stomach twisted. She knew what this was. An invitation. A challenge. A trap. She should have run. She should have called for help. But deep down, Marissa knew the truth. Logan wasn't bluffing. And if she didn't go, Grayson would never make it out alive. The drive was long, dark, and silent. Marissa's hands shook as she gripped the wheel, her heart pounding with every passing mile. She had left her security behind, her entire world behind. Now, she was walking straight into Logan's hands. The GPS led her to a part of the city that felt forgotten. No streetlights, no traffic, just rows of abandoned buildings, empty parking lots, and shadows that stretched too long. Her tires screeched as she pulled to a stop in front of a massive warehouse. The place looked lifeless, but Marissa knew better. Logan was inside, waiting. She climbed out, knees weak. The gun in her pocket felt useless. She didn't even know if she could pull the trigger. She walked toward the entrance, every step slower than the last. The warehouse door was unlocked. Of course, it was. She stepped inside. Darkness. Then, a single hanging light bulb flickered to life. And there he was. Logan. Standing just a few feet away. Calm. Still. Behind him? Grayson. Tied to a chair. Barely conscious. Blood streaking down his face. Marissa's pulse spiked. Logan. Logan's gaze didn't shift. His eyes, once familiar, were now cold as death. "Close the door," he said. Marissa hesitated. "Close it." Her fingers trembled as she reached back, pushing the door shut. The sound of the metal slamming into place echoed around them. Marissa swallowed hard. This was it. No escape. No games. Just the final reckoning. Logan's boots echoed as he took one slow step forward. Marissa held her ground. Barely. She forced herself to breathe, to think. "Logan, this isn't you." Logan tilted his head. "Isn't it?" Grayson groaned in the chair behind him, barely lifting his head. "Marissa, don't." Logan's knife was out before she even saw him move. The blade pressed under Grayson's chin, just enough to make him freeze. Marissa gasped. "One more word," Logan murmured, "and I open your throat." Silence. Marissa felt her legs trembling. "Please, Logan, we can fix this. You don't have to do this." Logan laughed. Soft. Almost amused. "You think this is about fixing?" His eyes darkened. "I don't want to fix anything, Marissa." He leaned down, whispering near Grayson's ear. "I want you to feel what I felt." Grayson tried to pull away, but there was nowhere to go. Logan turned back to her. "Do you remember the day you planned this?" Marissa swallowed. Did she? Logan's jaw tightened. "Because I do." His voice was low, sharp, controlled. "I was out there, fighting for my life in a country that didn't even want us there." His fists clenched. "And you? You were back here, drinking expensive wine, laughing about how easy it was to ruin me." Marissa shook her head violently. "It wasn't like that." Logan's eyes flashed. "It was exactly like that." He took another step forward. Marissa's breath hitched. Tell me something, Marissa. His voice was soft. Dangerous. Was it worth it? Her stomach nodded. Was the money worth it? The new life? She felt like her lungs were caving in. Because in that moment, for the first time, she knew the answer. No, it wasn't. She had miscalculated. She thought Logan would break. But instead, she had created something far worse. A man with nothing left to lose. Logan took another step forward. And Marissa? Marissa had never been more afraid in her life. Marissa's body locked up as Logan stepped closer. His eyes were unreadable. Dark. Cold. Deadly. The Logan she once knew? Gone. The man standing in front of her was something else. Something she had created. Grayson let out a weak, pained chuckle. You gonna kill us both, Riker? His voice was rough, shaking. Because if so, just get it over with. Logan didn't move, didn't flinch. Instead, he smirked. You think death is the worst thing I could do to you? His voice was too calm. No, Grayson. Death is too easy. Marissa's fingers dug into her sides. Logan, please, please. Logan's head tilted. Please what? Marissa's breath came short, uneven. Please let me go. Please don't do this. But she knew Logan wasn't the begging type. And now, neither was she. She lifted her chin, forcing herself to meet his stare. We hurt you. I get it. Her voice didn't shake this time. But what now? You're just gonna make us suffer? For what? Logan's smirk vanished. You don't get to ask that. Marissa's stomach turned. Because she saw it now. The pain in his eyes. This wasn't just anger. This was betrayal so deep it had left scars. Logan exhaled, slow. Don't worry, Marissa. He turned, taking out a phone. I'm not here to kill you. His thumb hovered over the screen. I'm here to show you something. Then, he hit play. A video file. Playing from his phone, broadcasting onto the warehouse's lone projector screen. Marissa's stomach twisted. She didn't want to see it. But Logan? Logan wanted her to watch. The screen flickered. A security camera feed. Their house. A recording from 2 years ago. She saw herself. Sitting in the living room. A glass of wine in hand. A smirk on her lips. And across from her? Grayson. They were laughing. Marissa's throat closed. No. The recording played their conversation, word for word. Logan will never see it coming. You really think he's that blind? He trusts me. She smirked, swirling the wine. That's what makes it so easy. Marissa felt like she had been punched in the gut. Her own words. Captured. Preserved. Thrown back in her face. She staggered backward. Where did you get this? Logan's smile didn't reach his eyes. I planted a camera the day I left for deployment. His voice was sharp, unforgiving. Because I always had a feeling you'd betray me. Marissa's chest caved in. Logan had always known. He had been waiting for proof. Grayson let out a bitter laugh. Well, shit. He turned his bruised face toward Marissa. You really did plan it all, huh? Marissa couldn't breathe. Because now, she wasn't just trapped in Logan's game. She was exposed. For everything. And there was no way out. Marissa's heartbeat thundered. She knew how this worked. Logan had laid out the evidence. The betrayal. The lies. Now he would end it. Logan pulled something from his jacket pocket. A gun. Marissa froze. He tossed it onto the ground between them. The metal clanked against the concrete. Then, he stepped back. His voice was quiet. Controlled. One of you is walking out of here. Marissa's stomach dropped. She looked at the gun. Then at Logan. Then at Grayson. Grayson's breathing hitched. He knew it too. This was it. One of them had to pull the trigger. Or Logan would make the choice for them. Marissa's body locked up. She had betrayed Logan. She had betrayed Grayson. And now, she had no one left to trust. The gun sat waiting. The decision? Hers. Or his. Marissa's fingers twitched. And Grayson? Grayson lunged. Marissa barely had time to react. Grayson lunged for the gun, his body moving on pure survival instinct. His fingers clasped the grip, pulling it toward him. But Marissa was faster. She threw herself on top of him, grabbing at his wrist, twisting it with everything she had. Let go. Grayson snarled, his voice wild, desperate. Marissa's nails dug into his skin, her heart hammering. No. They struggled. The gun spun between them. For a brief second, Marissa locked eyes with Logan. He was just watching. Still. Calm. Waiting. This was his game. Grayson's elbow slammed into Marissa's ribs, knocking the wind out of her. She gasped, stumbling back. And that was all Grayson needed. He grabbed the gun and fired. The sound exploded through the warehouse. Marissa flinched, expecting pain. But when she opened her eyes, she wasn't the one who had been shot. Grayson staggered backward, his own eyes wide. His hand pressed to his stomach. Blood seeped through his shirt. The gun slipped from his fingers, clattering to the floor. Marissa's hands flew to her mouth. Oh my God, Grayson let out a shaky breath. Then, he collapsed. Grayson's body hit the ground hard. Marissa rushed forward, falling to her knees. Grayson. His breaths came ragged, uneven. His eyes flickered open, staring at her. For the first time in years, there was no arrogance in his expression. Just pain. And something else. Regret. You. He coughed, blood dripping from his lips. You never really thought you'd get away with it, did you? Marissa's vision blurred. Grayson, just hold on. He gave a weak laugh. Then he turned his head toward Logan. You were always going to win, weren't you? Logan's face remained unreadable. There was never a chance for you. Grayson's lips curled. Yeah. His voice faded. I figured. Then, his eyes slid shut. His chest rose once, then fell, and didn't rise again. Marissa's hands shook. Grayson? Nothing. She let out a shaky breath. He was gone. And now? She was alone. She turned to Logan, her pulse hammering. You wanted this, she whispered. Didn't you? Logan tilted his head. No. Her breath hitched. I wanted you to see, he murmured. What happens when you take everything from someone who has nothing left to lose? Marissa's fingers curled into fists. Then finish it, she whispered. She braced herself. She waited for him to kill her. But Logan? Logan just smirked and turned toward the door. Marissa's breath caught. What are you doing? She asked, her voice sharp. Where are you going? Logan didn't stop walking. You think I'm going to kill you? He said, his voice calm, almost amused. That's too easy. Marissa's stomach twisted. Then what? He reached into his jacket pocket, pulled out his phone, and tapped the screen. Marissa's own phone buzzed. A new message. Her fingers trembled as she grabbed it, her heart pounding against her ribs. She stared at the screen, and her world ended. Sender. Unknown subject. Justice served attachment. All evidence sent to federal authorities. Marissa's chest collapsed. The bank fraud. The money laundering. The stolen military benefits. The emails. The phone calls. The hidden accounts. All of it. Sent. Her knees buckled. No. Logan finally turned to face her. His expression wasn't angry. It was cold. Empty. Unforgiving. You destroyed my life, he said softly. Now I've destroyed yours. Marissa's vision swam. Please, she reached for him. He stepped back. Goodbye, Marissa. Then, Logan walked out of the warehouse, leaving her behind, with nothing. Just the sound of sirens in the distance, and the realization that Logan Riker had won. Completely. Marissa sat frozen, her body numb as the distant screech of sirens grew louder. Her mind refused to process what had just happened. Grayson was dead. Logan had walked away, and her entire life had just collapsed in on itself. Her fingers trembled as she lifted her phone again, staring at the message. All evidence sent to federal authorities. No, this couldn't be happening. She had spent years building this life, crafting every move, making sure she would always be in control. But now, she was nothing. Her money? Gone. Her freedom? About to disappear. And the worst part? Logan Riker didn't even have to kill her to destroy her. He had just walked away, leaving her to rot in the ruins of her own betrayal. She forced herself to stand, her legs shaking violently. Grayson's lifeless body sat slumped in the chair, blood pooling beneath him. Her hands instinctively pressed to her chest as a cold, sharp realization hit her. Grayson had never been her partner. He had been her shield. And now? Now there was nothing standing between her and the full weight of Logan's revenge. The sirens were closer now. Red and blue lights flashed against the warehouse walls, the eerie glow flickering across the blood-stained floor. She spun around. Run. She had to run. She turned toward the back exit, her breath jagged, her heart pounding. If she could just disappear, if she could just— Marissa Calloway. The voice boomed through the warehouse. Marissa froze. The police were already here. A dozen armed agents stormed inside, their guns raised, their eyes locked onto her. Hands where we can see them. She stood there, her entire body trembling. This wasn't supposed to happen. This wasn't supposed to be her ending. Not like this. But it was. Logan had made sure of it. And now? There was no escape. Her hands slowly rose above her head. She had no other choice. Marissa Calloway, the lead officer said, stepping closer, his voice sharp. You are under arrest for conspiracy to commit fraud, money laundering, and obstruction of justice. The words hit her like a hammer. She felt her arms being wrenched behind her back. The cold steel of handcuffs clamped tight around her wrists. Her chest tightened. Her mind screamed at her to fight. But there was nothing left to fight for. As they dragged her toward the squad cars, she heard murmurs from the officers. She really thought she could get away with screwing over a Navy SEAL? He played this perfectly. She never even saw it coming. Marissa squeezed her eyes shut. This was the true depth of Logan's revenge. He hadn't just ruined her. He had made sure the entire world knew she had been outplayed. And now? Now she was just another cautionary tale. As the police shoved her into the back of the car, her eyes flicked up to the night sky. And for the first time in her life, she realized what it felt like to truly lose. 2 weeks later, a man sat alone in a quiet bar in Montana. The place was nearly empty, the low hum of an old jukebox playing some forgotten blues song. He sipped his drink, eyes scanning the room like he had done 1,000 times before. Always watching. Always ready. The bartender walked over, eyeing him curiously. You ain't from around here, are ya? The man smirked, shaking his head. Nope. The bartender leaned on the counter. You passing through? The man's blue eyes glimmered under the dim light. Something like that. The bartender nodded. Well, welcome to nowhere. Quietest town you'll ever find. The man gave a slow chuckle. That's exactly what I was looking for. He took another sip, his jaw tightening just slightly. On the TV screen above the bar, the news played muted. But he didn't need to hear it. He could read the headline just fine. Marissa Calloway sentenced to 25 years in federal prison. The mugshot flashed onto the screen. She looked broken. Not the confident, untouchable woman she had once been. Just another criminal who had played the wrong game. The man finished his drink, setting the glass down carefully. The bartender gave him another once-over. You got a name? The man smiled. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then, slowly, he reached into his pocket, pulling out a silver wedding ring. He rolled it between his fingers. For a second, just a second, his expression flickered. Then, he placed the ring on the bar and left it behind. As he stood, pulling his jacket over his broad shoulders, he smiled one last time. Name's Logan. And then, he walked out into the night. Free. Untouchable. A ghost. And the legend of Logan Riker had only just begun. The road stretched out ahead of Logan, a long, winding ribbon of asphalt disappearing into the Montana wilderness. He had no destination, no plan, just silence. And for the first time in years, that silence didn't feel empty. It felt like freedom. The wind whipped past him as he drove, the old truck humming beneath his hands. He had bought it with cash, no trace, no paper trail. Just another ghost slipping through the cracks of the world. Because that's what he was now. A ghost. No home. No family. No past. But no weight on his shoulders, either. The final pieces had fallen into place. Marissa was rotting in a prison cell, just another inmate, another cautionary tale. Grayson was gone, his arrogance buried with him. And Logan? Logan had won. But had it changed anything? He thought back to that day in the warehouse. The moment Marissa had finally understood what he had become. The way she had begged him to end it. But death would have been mercy. And Logan Riker? He was never in the business of mercy. Instead, he had left her with nothing. Now, every single day for the rest of her life, she would wake up behind bars, knowing that the man she had tried to destroy had erased her from existence instead. That was true revenge. Not blood, not violence, but making sure your enemies never get back up. A new beginning, or just another mission. Logan pulled into a small diner off the highway, the kind of place where no one asked questions. He slid into a booth near the window, ordering a black coffee. As he waited, he glanced at the TV above the counter. The news played on low volume, but he caught the headline. Marissa Calloway transferred to maximum security prison following altercation with inmates. Logan's fingers tapped against the table. It had already begun. She thought she was untouchable, thought she could control everything. But now? Now she was just another trapped animal, fighting to survive in a world she never thought she belonged to. And Logan? Logan had moved on. At least, that's what he told himself. But as he stirred his coffee, his mind kept drifting. Because deep down, a part of him knew. This wasn't his last mission. It was just the last one for her. There would always be more people like Marissa. People who thought they could take and manipulate without consequences. And Logan? Logan was really damn good at reminding them what consequences looked like. His eyes flicked toward the exit. The road called to him, another mission waiting. Or maybe not. Maybe this time, he would just disappear. The choice was his. For the first time in a long, long time. The choice was his. He left a few bills on the table, pulled his jacket over his shoulders, and stepped outside. The wind was cold. The air smelled like rain. And Logan Riker? Logan Riker just kept walking. Because ghosts don't look back. They only move forward. Logan's mission is over. But the question remains, was his revenge justified? Would you have let Marissa live? Or would you have ended it differently? Drop your answers in the comments. And if you loved this journey of betrayal, revenge, and karma hitting hard, make sure to like the story if you felt every moment of Logan's legendary revenge. Subscribe so you don't miss the next thriller that will leave you on edge. Share this story with someone who loves a cold, calculated revenge tale. Because in the end, some betrayals don't just get even. They become legend. Logan Riker's mission is over, but is the ghost truly gone? Let's hear it in the comments below.